guys, how you doing? How's your day going? And we're just starting. How was your night? Hope you had an amazing and a beautiful night rest. My name is Praise, and you're currently tuned into my channel. In the last video, I had a little cold, but I'm feeling very much better now. And I tell that it's time for us to work on another project. So, um, yeah, before we get started, though, don't forget to subscribe, leave a comment in the video. Let me know what you want me to upload next, and check out my other socials. I would link them all in the description below. And yeah, let's get started. I uploaded something on my community asking you all to let me know what project you want me to work on next. So I've gotten like someone asked for an e-commerce site. So we're gonna do that. But e-commerce websites are extremely broad. So I have a project already created by myself. So maybe I'll push it to my GitHub repository. But first, I'm like I said, I want to take this step by step. So I'm currently still working on the beginners project before I will hop into the e-commerce. But by maybe next week or the week after, I would have an e-commerce video on my site. So I'm going to do that one in parts though because it's extremely broad. So I'll section it and yeah, don't if you have any type of projects you want me to work on, just head over to my community. I think it's the last post and just let me know there. So without further ado, let's get started. So I believe we're already familiar enough with this project with Django that we can set it up by ourselves. So I'm just gonna do that quickly. So the first thing we want to do is to create our virtual environment. All right, then let's activate it. And next we're going to install Django. All right, so I'm going to upload a short after this video is up. It's gonna be how to run Python on your phone because it's very possible to run Python on your phone. What's happening? Oh, I'm not connected to the internet. So let me do that. Guys, I remember when I started working with Python newly, so I was learning Flask, and I didn't know that like to install all these stuff you're supposed to be connected to the internet. I thought you just like import it like a module, like all the files already existed inside the Python file you downloaded. So I was getting extremely frustrated because I was like I would run all the programs and I kept getting errors like this, and then I didn't really know how to read errors. So you know what, I'm going to upload a video teaching you how to read errors. I mean, I'll do it for Python, and whenever we learn another language, let me try another Wi-Fi. Whenever I learn another language, I will do like there's something you call it. I can't remember sure, but I'll just do that so that whenever you see any error, you wouldn't like start panicking and like start your project all over again, like what I usually do. Like I would go if like one day when I'm free, I'm going to show you guys everything. I'll just no network seriously. I'll just like show you some of the project. Unfortunately, this laptop is quite new, so I couldn't restore all my projects. But if I can, I would like see if I can find like all my old projects that I come like I had gone so far and just like one error and I just left everything. So I've not even told you what project we're going to be working on in this video. So do you guys know what a phone book is? I don't not think we use it that much these days, but we're going to create a phone book. It's going to be one that can be access can be accessed online. So should we like have like like things that decide, okay, let me just list it out. So firstly, we want to be able to sign in users, because we don't want like, if like I'm using the site and someone else is using it, I don't want another person to be oh gosh, I don't have a cold. I don't want another person to be able to see the contacts I save, and I'm not supposed to see someone else's, contacts that they save. I don't know if you understand. So when I create, when I need in order to like to only show you what you added to the site, you would need to you need to be able to log in. So we have already done this. I think yes, the blog we asked people to log in for the blog. So I'm just going to use the exact same thing. So for those of you, yes, for those of you who watch the blog tutorial and you still haven't styled it, I said I wasn't going to upload a CSS video yet, but if you really do want me to upload the CSS video, I can do that. If you, I think if you want to see how my CSS looks for the blog, you can check my Instagram. So I'll link it below. So you can just head over to my Instagram and see what my styling is. If you like my styling on Instagram, there you can just let me know and I'll upload a CSS video here. If not, CSS is very basic, so you can try and style it yourself. Or as well, like saying, yeah. So I want you to be able to sign in and to be able to create certain details, like what are the things you add. You add the only we add phone, the person's name, number, sometimes something as phone, email address, sometimes even their actual address. Just you can be crazy and just add whatever it is um you feel necessary to add. Then that's actually everything. Then we want to have a page where we see all the list of users that is this thing downloading as well. We want to have a page where we'll see the list of users that have been recently, created by a specific by the logged in user. So that is everything. So we're just going to create a model or a model. I keep forgetting which one is which. We're just going to create a database model that will contain all the things we need to add for the users. We are also going to have a foreign key, which is the type of input in models that will request the user so that we can lock or we can ensure that only the user who created a contact can view that contact. Next, we want to have uh, a page. We want to have a page that pulls requests from the database and only pulls requests according to login users. So this can be, we can apply like this method, we can apply something like this to the blog. So if you want to go a step further with your blog, I don't think this stuff is installing. What's wrong? So if you want to go a step further with your blog, you can just, there's a place where you'd have the name of the person who created the blog. So I forgot to do this when I was creating the blog. I just remembered it after. So what you can do is that you can make a private key and assign it. Kind of what we did for the topics. So whenever a specific username is clicked, it will take you to a page that will have the list of all the articles written by that specific user. So yeah, I will upload another video that takes it to another level. So I honestly don't know what's wrong. I honestly don't know what's wrong. What's happening? I think the network where I am has like gotten very very bad because of like it's been raining a lot. But okay, Django is installed. So let me just see if I can install everything everything would need, just in case my network is not partnering with us anymore. All right, so I've created the project. Remember, Django admin start project, and let's just inside this directory. I need my phone book. Let's just add our static, our templates, and yeah, our images. All right, and move into the phone book directory and let's create an app. So Django admin. All right, so let's just get over um the main basics. So we're going to link our template and our static file. I believe you guys remember how to do that. So all right, so let's import OS. Next, we're going to link our installed apps. So the name of our app was Core. Right, next we're going to head over to our template and set the directory. Alright, next let's work on our static folders. Alright, and alright, so we have our settings down. So let's just start working on the app. So let's go to our models actually, and let's create all the inputs we want made available um for each individual user. So I was listing them. I said we need a name, we need a phone, we need an address. So yeah, let's do that. All right, so you'd name it. I name my contact. So the first thing we need, let's say an author, which is going to represent the person who is creating it, who is creating like who the logged in user, and it's going to be a foreign key. All right. So, if you remember when we checked like when we logged in, so I will show you later. But when we log into our admin portal, you log into your admin portal, you'll be able to see like the users in this group. So we imported it here. So these the users are going to access. So it's going to be a list of all the users who have already created an account. So what happens when a user is deleted? Now let's start taking the details for the user. Alright, then we have email. Now what we want to do for like the numbers, the email, the address, we want to set null into true because it's not every contact you create that would have an email and all the others. So I'm just going to create the fields now. Alright, so I've created, I have my name, the email, the number, date added. So you can go on your own and add any other feature you wish to add. Don't forget to set null and blank equal to true. It's gonna keep crashing if someone doesn't fill it, and not every single user that has those. So let's just push it to the admin dashboard. So we're going to import the module here first. All right, then we're going to use the admin.site and we're going to register it. All right, so now we're going to make our migrations. Okay, and now we're going to migrate and now create super user. Right, and let's run our server and just go and look at what we've created. Oh yeah, we haven't set up our URL. Anyways, let's go to our admin. Alright, so this is the users I was talking about. So this is what we imported. So when we start working with groups, we're gonna select we're going sometime later I'm going to build a social media platform. So we're going to implement these groups because right now it's just there like looking at us. Alright, so here you can see this is the foreign key, so it's going to be a list of all users. But when we create the form, we don't want to see this list because we don't want like if I create this site, I don't want it that I don't even know if you understand, but I want it to just automatically take the input of the user logged in. So we're going to get to that later when we're working with the forms. But right now we have the name, the email, and the number. So whatever else you added will be listed here. So let's go back to the site. So now I'm going to build the sign in and the sign up page, which by now you should all be familiar with. So if you don't know how to do this, I'm using the exact same code we used in our last video. If you don't know how to do this, I'm going to put a card up here to where I explained it. So yeah, I'm just going to import that section so we can get back to it. Alright, so I've created the login function and the sign out. Once again, if you don't know how to do this, I would place a card up here where I did a tutorial on that. So what do we need to work on now? Let's create a form. So inside our app, where's the app here? We're going to create a forms.py. All right. So this form we're going to, we're going to create. We're going to we want to push a form on the site. So I don't think I've shown you guys how to turn a model like this model we created here. I don't think I've shown you guys how to turn this into a form on the site so users can create on it. You can also, this site is just like an advanced, like an additional area of the blog app we created. So for your blog, if you want to have multiple users be able to create blogs, once they apply for permission to write blogs, or if they don't need permission, you need to have a page where everybody can like create blogs for themselves. So you can find a way to apply it. And if you guys want me to apply it for you, let me know in the comments. I would be happy to do so. So we're going to create a form for that model. So first we need to import Django Forms. And next we want to import the model we're trying to create the form for. Alright, so I'm creating a class which is gonna be alright, so now I'm going to create the form. I'm creating a class. So I don't know if I explained when to and when not to use classes and functions. Did I? I don't know. So let me just explain it. So when it comes to explaining this kind of thing, I used to when I was learning it for myself, I kind of like manipulated the understanding. So I'll try and explain to you in that manner. But I don't know if you get it, no problem. If not, you can read about it. So, if you go to my Python functions, I'll leave a card here. If you go to where I did Python functions, you would see the section where I spoke about where I did like explaining functions mathematically. So you define a function when you just want to like run just you want to run something and like get a direct output. Is that the right way? Yeah. Then classes are when like you want to have a collection of stuff. For example, now these forms, we want everyone to place their input. then we want the input to be stored, and we want that multiple people can create inputs without overriding something that was already created. So class is kind of like a collection of functions. Does that make sense? Okay. So since I'm creating a form for contact, I just like to name it contact form, so I will not confuse it. But you can name whatever; it doesn't really matter. Forms dot model form. Okay. So now we are going to make the class meta. Now we're going to declare the model where we're importing it from. That is the model's input we want to collect. So we're collecting contact. I'm not suggesting. And now we're going to work on the fields. So these are, you can either do field equals to, or which I'm going to do, unless you only want, like there's sometimes that you only want to collect one particular field from them, in which case you'll like have a bracket and you'll be like you start listing all the field elements. But here I want to collect all the inputs, and I want to exclude one particular field. So I want to exclude also, remember I said I want the author to automatically add, so I've not done that though. But we are going to do it. And yeah. All right, so now we're going to create a view for the form we just created. So okay, next we are going to import the model, and we're going to import the form. All right, so now we're going to create the view. All right, so I want to use the home page as like the main page where the forms and everything will be created. So let's just comment this out. And then let's just okay. So I'm going to create the view, and I would name the view add. All right. So okay. So just this part is going to be a little bit confusing, but it's actually very straightforward. So first, we're going to define an object. You can name it whatever you want. I'm going to name mine contacts. Now, this contact is going to contain all objects created under the model we created, which was contact. I'm not spelling so contact. So that is the model. So all objects. So we're going to gather all the objects, and we're going to place it into this contact stuff we just declared here. Next, we are going to create a form. So by declaring a new object by ourselves. So and we're going to push the form we created into it. Now we're going to run some conditional. So what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to set it so that we can save the form when the form is created, and also we can push in the current username as the active user. All right, so we're going to get the request method from a form, because remember forms either pass a get or a request method. All right, so now we're going to get the form, and we're going to request all the values that are imputed into the form and push it inside this variable contact form we declared. So we're going to because no, when you post something, it pushes all the values into whatever destination it is that you want it to be pushed into. And this one we don't need this one, but this request dot files. Let's say if you are collecting images, like some people may have added images to your model to have like people's pictures, you can know who you're receiving. You know what, you can do that. So if you want to receive the images, you use request dot file. All right. So now we're going to check if the form is valid, that is if there is no error if there's no error in the form, if it's ready to save. So usually, if you're just to save a direct form, we're just going to um, um, the form contacting the form dot save, and it's going to save it. But now we don't want it to save yet, so we're going to set save to false. So it's going to be contact underscore form dot save. That was what I was just talking about now. But we're going to pass something inside it, so we're going to set it to false, so it's not going to save yet. And then we're going to request the author. So remember, in that author in the model is set to a foreign key, which is user. So we're going to push a value into it since the user can't do that themselves. And we're just going to request user. Request user is it requests current or logged in user. Then now we can save it. And we just, this is not compulsory, but just to pass a message to let everyone know that it's saved. And next we want to pass an else, like if there was an error, if the form wasn't valid. So we want to pass an error to let the user know that the form wasn't able to be created. So we're going to send an error message. And now we're going to just like push all the details into the model. So we just send a return value. The template where we want to save all the values to is on the home. And now we're going to get the context of the forms. Context is usually kind of like an application of dictionary. So I'll do a new video where I like explain it better. Alright, so now we have created the view. So let's just go back to our URLs, and let's work on our URLs. So let me just confirm everything is present. This should do it. If it doesn't tell us what the error is. Alright, so this URL here, it's no longer going to be views.home, it's going to be views.add. And now to work on our template. Alright, so let's work on the display on the template, so we'll be able to view it. First, we are going to extend the um index page. Alright, so first, if you created the sign in, so I'm just going to push that message up here. So we've already covered this section when you want to display messages on the home page. Alright, now let's just create a navigation bar. Alright, so we want to be able to display login, logout, but we want it to be conditional based on whether or not the user is already logged in. Alright, so for those of you who still don't know, the way links are used in template is a little bit different when linking between pages. So let's just create the link here. Alright, so first we would want to have like one that links to the um home, I guess. So what we're going to do is pass the URL command, and we're just, when declaring URLs, let me show you that. When you declare URLs, you add these names. So it's these names you refer to here. So once you pass the URL command inside the string, it's going to be the name you want to link to. So I'm just going to link to all these places. Alright, so I've created like if user is authenticated, you have PhoneBook and sign out, and if the user isn't, you have sign up, sign in. So now we need to start adding the forms, but to do so, we would need to add something to our settings. Alright, so under install that, first you need to install it. So let's come out. You're going to We're going to pip install Django Forms, and once it's installed, we're going to add it to our installed apps. Alright, so we're adding um crispy underscore forms. Alright, alright. So now that the crispy form is downloaded and added to our installed apps, we can start working with it. So let's add the form where the user. So first, we need to ensure that the user is authenticated in order for the user to be able to, view this form, because we don't want people who aren't logged in creating forms, because it could crash our site, considering the fact that forms that are saved require to have users and we're automatically selecting the users. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. But like, okay, when you create a form, it checks who is currently logged in and it pushes that person's username. So if someone who isn't logged in creates a form, then our site is gonna crash. Okay, my battery is low, so I'll just go continue when I power it. Alright, so I've powered my system, and let's so if user is authenticated, so if the user is authenticated, we're going to load the cryptic forms, that stuff we imported. So we're going to load um so in my last video I mentioned that there were two main types of like Python form related stuff. I remember that there was CSRF and this cryptic forms. So we use CSRF in the last one, now we're making use of cryptic. So what we're doing is allowing ourselves to be able to access the tags that are linked to cryptic and all that, so that we can make use of them in our program. So now this first pass, we are going to be working on the model form. That is the form, the content is that contact form. So this is where people will be able to add new contacts and all that. So let's maybe just add like a H2 tag and add contacts. Next, we want to implement the form, and we need to set the method to post, because that's what we look for. Right now, we're going to pass a CSRF token. And remember the form. So remember was it forms or QI views. So remember here, this contact form we declared and pushed the form into. So that's what we're going to call now. So whatever name you used to save yours, that is what you are going to pass. So mine was contact form, so it's just going to be con- contact underscore form and crispy. And then we're going to create a submit button. Alright, now we want to be able to have like um a list of all the currently created contacts, and we want it to be that you'd only view the contacts which you created. Right, so once again we're going to check if user is authenticated. And now there's this stuff where remember when I think I've covered loops in Python. So if you don't really understand how loops work, then I would link it somewhere, probably a card if I remember. So you guys can check out how loops function. So we're going to declare a loop that loops through all the currently created contacts in the model. So remember, once you declare loop, you declare a random variable and set that variable to be inside whatever it is you want to loop through. So this contact is this one here, this one. So whatever name you use for yours, that is the name you're going to be applying here. Don't forget to indent it, because Python is very strict about its indentation. Alright, so now we're going to check if the user is the author. So if user.id is the current user, the current logged in user, so you check if the current logged in user's ID is equal to the ID of the author of the individual contact that is about, like as it loops through contacts, it will check okay, what is the ID of the author, and check if the ID matches the user ID. So if it does, you do I use the table here because I didn't really want to start doing like a whole CSS styling and everything. So I believe you guys know how to work with HTML tables. So we want to display the individual name for the particular one called. Now, you remember those ones where we said that the true, remember we covered this in blog. If a particular one has like can accept a null and empty value, if you request that value here, it's going to crash your program because it doesn't exist. So what you're going to do is going to pass like a sort of like conditional to check if it exists for that particular self you're about to call. So since email, we set email to be email can accept null. So if there's an email present, we are going to display it. If not, it's just going to ignore it and it's going to skip it so our site will still run properly. Alright, so we're going to do the same thing for number. So we're going to check if a number is present. Alright, so I've covered name, email, and number. Is that all? Okay, yeah, the date it was created. Let's see. We have done name, email, number, and date added. Okay. So let's close up the table. All right. So this we just covered the the uh, if the user ID is equal, so we'll end our if. And next, we want to check if this for if C is in contact. But what if there's nothing? What if the user hasn't created any contacts yet? So in that case, we're going to pass empty. So if it's empty, okay. So if it's empty, we'll just pass a text to kind of like no contact here or something like that. And we can end for. What else is remaining? Okay, it was inside if user is authenticated. So um we'll end the if then. Unless if you feel like passing like maybe another prompt like if user is authenticated, maybe if user is not authenticated, maybe you can pass like something like login, like what we did for the blogs, login to view or whatever. So let's just end if. What else? Just kind of like scroll through to ensure. Oh gosh, you've closed up everything. All right. Now for this, if we have not ended this if yet, so if user is authenticated, that's when we show the whole forms and everything. Oh, oh, so I went. Okay, all right. So if user is authenticated, else, all right, now we can end if and end block. So I think we're pretty much done. So what's the have we done our URLs? Yeah, let's run it and see what we have so far, and like see if there's any error. Alright. Okay, so here we're logged in as an admin. So let me just open it up with a new user. Right, so you can see login to use. So here's what I'm going to do. Let's create like some contacts for our admin. So let's just use my name. Create. Let's use and let's just use random numbers. So you can see it here. So it's showing name, email, phone, and the date it was created. Okay. Um, if you come to the contacts here, you'll be able to see like each for each individual user. So let's log in now with a different user. Let's sign up. Right, I'm signing. So you can see for the contact for us here it's empty. But here, so let's create a user with this person's details. Let's just use this and let's submit, and it's created. So yeah, that's pretty much everything. So if you guys enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like, check me out on my other socials. If you would like to see how my CSS code is, you can check out my Instagram. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Share this video if it was helpful, and let me know in the comments what project you'd like me to work on next. Anyways, guys, till whenever I upload my next videos. See you guys next time. Bye.